Welcome everyone to today's podcast. My name is Paul. I am a recovered addict. I live in Peterhead, Scotland. I'm really pleased to have been joined today by Darren.
Yeah, I'm Darren. I'm also an addict, and I'm also grateful to be here this morning.
Brilliant. Glad you're here with us. So welcome to the podcast. There's loads of resources on the channel family. We've also got male and female sponsorship lists. So if you're new to the program, the fellowship, you can get involved in the chat wherever you see this podcast posted. We will get back to you. There's loads of free full PDFs, books we can send you on WhatsApp. There's also lots and lots of meetings face-to-face and in person. During the podcast, there'll be various readings on the screen, as well as at the moment there is a meeting screen. Bear in mind you can pause, rewind, fast forward and share this broadcast wherever you wish. If you have any questions or you want direct support, as I say, pop your number in the chat and we will get back to you. So I'm really pleased you've come along, Darren. Darren's going to be sharing his story of experience, strength and open freedom from addiction. So without further ado, my friend, it's over to you.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I'm Darren. I'm an addict. I'm from Lancashire. I got into drugs very young, very young. When I was a kid, my life was good. I didn't want for anything. I come from good stock kind of thing. I had a loving family and stuff. But I had issues. I was kind of a naughty kid. Didn't do a thing I was told. It didn't serve me well. Like I said, I had a lot of issues. Didn't make it to the end of school and all that stuff. When I was young, my mum, my dad, they had a lot of love for me. I got all the nice things at Christmas. Took away on holiday and all that. Well, I was born on a council estate. My mum, the council estate where I came from, it was a bit rough. But I liked that as a kid. My mum and dad, they took us away from that, bought an house just off the estate. But I just loved estate life. I was always up there thinking I was a kid, the boy, and I always kind of hung around with older people. I had a brother that I really looked up to. My dad worked away, so I very rarely see my dad. I see my dad at weekends kind of thing. So I always looked up to my brother. He was always in bother, in prison. He's an addict. As a kid, everyone like, yeah, Darren's brother, Darren, and I kind of wanted to be him in a way. Anything he did, I would do. I just used to love all the bother, the police and all that. It was mad for a young kid. It was mad. Like I said, I didn't finish school. I smoked my first spliff when I was about 8. I had loads of problems in school. Didn't like school. Didn't finish school. And then from there, that ended up like I guess my mum couldn't cope with me in the end. Police at the door, in police stations, and get me out on bail to then go home, run off, do the exact same stuff. No wonder she couldn't cope. I was a nightmare. So from there, ended up in a few kids' homes and stuff. Secure unit, and then it were young offenders and jails. That's all I knew for a long time. But I learned so much wrong stuff in them places, because I'd go and there'd be people older who'd been there a few times, in there for different stuff to me, and I took a like to it all. But, I didn't know normal life from any age. Life on life's terms, as they say, couldn't do it, even from a young age. So by the time I'm in my really, really early teens, from the age of 8, when I picked that split up to it in my teens, I tried a lot of stuff, whiz, bits of tablets, this, that. Tried more or less everything. A lot of it with my brother. really, really early teens, you know, I ended up with an heroin addiction problem, massive problem. Never stopped for so many years. That, you know, that became the need for me. I needed that to function. Like I said, always in jail. Get out. Sometimes I get out for a month or two. Sometimes I get out for a week or two. One time I got out, I didn't even make it home. Got out, got released. Didn't even make it to the town where I'm from. Got locked up on the way there. Spent that discharge grant on next week's canteen sheet. You know, pure madness. And my life just revolved around drugs. And even though I spent so many years in jail, I was never ever clean. And never ever clean in jail because I chased drugs in jail like I did out here. You know, got out sometimes with bigger habits than I went in with. You know, I never had I didn't do none of that normal stuff. I didn't have a job, didn't have a career, didn't get married, didn't have a house, didn't do my driving test, you know, nothing. All I knew for so many years was drugs, crime, and prisons. That was it, nothing else. You know, I'd accepted that was my life. You know, I did some terrible, terrible things for drugs. You know, shameful things to feed my habit. I hurt everyone that loved me. I lost everyone that loved me. You know, it had to be tough love in the end. There was nothing they could do for me. There was nothing I could do for myself. My problem was I loved drugs. I loved the way it made me feel. And I upped it and upped it and upped it and upped it. You know, it was just ridiculous. I wouldn't say it was manageable on heroin. It wasn't. It was far from manageable. But I'd always save a little something so I weren't up in the morning, or I'd go get that next craft, that next. You know, it wasn't manageable, but it, you know, it wasn't. I'd always, like I said, I'd always save something, and I'd always be out grafting. You know, I used to travel. You know, I was a bad housebreaker, and I used to travel up to rich areas, pay taxes to get there. You know, and I justified that. I justified it by, well, I don't rob off council estates. I only rob the rich. It's all rubbish. It's all rubbish. You know, robbing people, no matter what, them people are going out working hard, and I was just going to take what they had. You know, it's not right, is it? That went on for a lot of years, and I used to, you know, I'd take crack, but for a while, it was heroin that was my need and my problem. I smoked crack and I smoked lots of crack, but when crack weren't there, it weren't an issue for a while. You know, heroin was my focus. And then one time I got out of jail after quite a long sentence, and things had changed. I got out now and everyone is smoking crack. Everyone. I'm going in gaffs and people are smoking cracks with the nanas or the mums and the dads, and it was mad. It was different, really different. And at this time, there were a lot of people that got off the heroin, and they were all on that spice. You know, I smoked that for a short time. Horrendous, horrendous. I lived in a lot of different places, but when I've got out that time, I've ended up taking crack like I've always took heroin, and that's when my life really, really became dark. You know, really dark. Doing things for crack that I'd never do. You know, I'd rip anyone for a crack pipe. It was that simple. In the end, you know, I found that, and then having that with the gear, you know, injecting double headers and stuff. And again, I'm an addict that loves drugs, and I loved it. But the darkest point was I've got a sister that lives in Blackpool, and I ended up in Blackpool. Now that sister has never ever give up on me. She came see me in jail, you know, all of that. Looked after me, let me stay there. But the police out the door, through the door, and all that. You know, she never give up on me. And so I'm in Blackpool now, and things are the same as they are wherever I go, causing chaos, causing carnage. And like I say, it got real bad. And then my sister, you know, she had to show me that tough love. She didn't want to know me. you know, because they were causing so much problems where she's trying to live, you know. Yeah, it got bad. So needless to say, I ended up homeless in Blackpool, not the place I'm from. And Blackpool is a place where it doesn't stop. You know, it just doesn't stop. It's a 24-hour place. At first, I loved that, but in the end, it was painful. You know, yeah, I'm not in my area, and I don't know people there. Don't know a lot of people there. So I'm getting about doing my thing. I'm ending up, you know, I'm on the streets. I'm just walking the night, smoking crack, waiting for the next morning. Going to blagging my way in crack dens. We've got pockets full of drugs at some point, so we're getting in this den or that den. Or then I've ended up wrapped around a few prostitutes, you know, because my mind tells me, you know, they always have money. So I'd wrap around them for a bit. And then I got a stern warning off the judge, you know, come back for your crime, because they classed me at one point as a professional burglar that sees prison as nothing but an occupational hazard. So my sentence got up and up and up. And I've got a stern warning, you know, going back to any court for a burglary. My starting point was an 8. So I had to stop that. You know, I thought this needs to stop now. Getting a bit older. I'm in a bit of pain by this point. You know, it wasn't the same as all my using was. I was starting to not enjoy it at this point, you know. But, you know, I'd shoplift and things like that, but that wasn't the thing that I was kind of good at. So it was more kamikaze and stuff, you know. And anything, I was just doing anything for my money, anything. But Blackpool for me, I thought I'd hit rock bottoms in the past, but no. Blackpool was my rock bottom. But, I'll never forget it. There was a Christmas day. I was walking up Blackpool Seafront on my own, rattling. There was another person on that promenade, and you know that's when it was lonely. But it was probably the most painful day I'd ever had in the whole addiction. And from that day forward, that's when I really, really was using against my will. I didn't want to use anymore, but I knew nothing else. I didn't know how to not use. It's all I've ever done. And you know, then my head became mangled because I didn't want to use. I just didn't. But like I said, I didn't know anything else. All I knew was black dens, addicts, just that. I was so closed-minded to life. I knew nothing. I knew nothing. Just what I'd always done. I was walking around judging those streets. I was lost. I was lost, man. It was painful. And I'm in these dens. You know, at one point I couldn't even look in a mirror to have a shave. I would just be over a sink. I couldn't look at myself. So how could I expect, you know, anyone of any decency to look at me when I couldn't even look at myself? Same clothes on for weeks. I'm stinking by this point. You know, it got real bad, real painful. So I'm kind of starting to look for a way out, but it weren't happening. It weren't happening. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know recovery. I didn't, you know, I'm starting to like go to these drug agencies and things like that. I got put on a script, and for a short time I thought that was all right, but it weren't. That just meant I didn't have to chase heroin in the morning, but I was still chasing crack all day long. One day I heard these two guys. I'd heard of meetings and I'd heard of another fellowship, heard of NA in jail, but never understood it, never quite knew what it was, nothing like that. And I heard these two guys. Now, you know, when an addict can always spot an addict in it, you know, when we're going up, you ask someone, you know, it's asking it for numbers to score this and that. And I seen two kids and they were looking well. And I heard them say, they were talking, and I heard them say they were going to a meeting. So I'd heard of these meetings in jail and stuff, but I didn't know what they was. But I don't know. I thought I'm going to follow them. So I followed them, and they were on to me, following them, you know, looking back and all that. I probably thought I was going to dip them or something. So I followed them to this meeting. I went in, you know, after them. I went in the building after them. And I felt so out of place, so out of place. But I just sat down and listened a bit. got off at the end, I had to think to myself, and I can remember it. I sat in a doorway as it goes, and I just was thinking what I'd heard in that room. So I thought I need to like start getting to go back to the meeting places and meet these people. I'm still homeless and stuff like that. I'm still grafting and I'm still using, but I started finding different meetings and different fellowships, and I didn't have a clue what it was about still, but I was getting from the streets to a meeting. But I went in this meeting and a guy recognised me, and I didn't recognise him. He recognised me, and he come up, give me a hug, and when he said who he were, when he said his name, I knew who it were then. And that guy used to run groups in my hometown for the drug services, and that's where I first met him years before. And he kind of asked me what was what, I told him, and I'm at my wit's end here, basically. He gave me his number and kind of give me a few things to do, so he needs coming back kind of thing. So I did. I went back to another meeting and I sat there that night. I'd had a think now. I need to get a taste of what these people have got, because my head was telling me all them were like me. So all them at some point have been where I am now, first meetings, head mangled, using against the will, all that stuff. So I kept, I went back. And one night I spoke in a meeting, but I just broke down. I just broke down. I mean, and this guy and his life's amazing. This woman, and I thought I need to speak here. I need to kind of open up, and I couldn't because I broke. I just started bawling like a girl. And I stayed that meeting. I stayed at the end. All I said in there, I said, look, I'm Darren, and I'm struggling. I just broke, and I said, I need help. I need some help. And at the end, the guy that I met, I spoke to him, and he was ringing me now daily. I was ringing him. We were in contact, but there was this other woman. She was in the fellowship. She was a lot of years clean, and she worked for the agencies. And she said, "Can you get to see me at 9 o'clock in the morning?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, of course I can." So I went. I seen her, and she really helped me with a lot of things. She did. She helped me massively. I'll never forget that woman. And a lot of other people showed me a lot of love from that room. People took me for food. People brought me clean clothes. But um, that that was any that, and I was hearing people were so wrong on this step and so wrong on that step, and I knew I didn't have that time. So my head's telling me then, well, it's a waste of time. But I didn't know about other fellowships then and there. Didn't know about the big book. I was listening to Green and Gold. I didn't know the big book. I didn't know the things. And the guy that I met, he said to me, he said, "Darren, I think what's best for you is you kind of need help now, quick. You'd be probably better off going through the AA with the big book." I said, right. At this point, I was willing to do anything, anything. So I'm still almost in Blackpool, but I'm getting to at least one meeting every day. Some of them I were out, and some of them were off my head, but I was getting there. And that guy got me doing service and all that straight away. I didn't know what service was, but I was just willing to do anything at that point, anything. And the guy, he knew people, he'd been around for a while. He knew people. He asked me, he said, "Would you go to Preston?" I said, "Listen, mate, I'd go anywhere. I'd go anywhere." So anyway, he's reached out on my behalf, and he sorted it out for me to come down to Preston and look at some recovery houses. So I came down, they told me to go away for about 4 or 5 weeks, and then I got a phone call, "There's space, can you come on?" It was the 19th of June last year. Yeah, definitely. So I went down, and it was CA there. They did the CA way. So I've gone down, moved into this house, and for the first 28 days, you couldn't go out, but I was good with that. For the first 28 days, I did nothing. I didn't even do much recovery in that first 28 days because I needed to get my head from out there on them streets, out there in that madness, into what I was coming in and looking at doing, and that's what I did. I had a sponsor and stuff, but I just needed to accept that I left drugs behind, and and settle, just really get my head from out there. So I'm in a 6-bed house with 5 other people, and they're all fully on recovery, and that helped me massively. And in that house there was one lad that I really clicked with, and he helped me, because I didn't know nothing. I knew nothing, but I didn't even know how to set a phone up for meetings and stuff. He did. He really helped me. We got close. I live with that guy today. We got real close, man. So then, in that gaff, I started doing what's required. It was suggested to me to do 90 meetings in 90 days. I did 206. Like I said, to really get focused on the journey ahead. I had ahead of me because I really didn't want to go back out. I really didn't. Then I started. I got my book, got a sponsor. Started working the steps then. And while I was there, I seen a lot of people like mess up on this step 4, but I didn't really know what a step 4 was at that point. And I'm thinking, well, these people are better than me. These people know more than me, and they're messing up. So probably I'm gonna mess up. I kind of prepared myself to not make it. I really believed at one point I was going to end up back out there on a step 4. But then I started looking at this 12-step program, and I identified with so much out of that book. So I got to the steps, and step 1, admit that I was powerless and that my life became unmanageable. My life was fully unmanageable. I had no power. So it wasn't hard. I had no power. That was my dilemma. Like a power, I had none. So I had to come in and get powered up. So, that was an easy one. Like, I accepted that, done some stuff. Yeah, all right. Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than myself. Well, all right, because my power's not that great because I ain't got none. No doctors have ever fixed me, no jails have ever, nothing human could ever fix me. So, again, I had to believe that someone else could, I had to, didn't I? Because that was my only hope at that point. So again, just doing stuff and I'm hearing what I'm hearing and stuff like that. But I had an hunger inside me for this, and I just thought I can't give up on this. Can't keep going. So I did make that step 3. I did make the decision to turn my will and my life over. The God word, it scared me for a short time, but I always read the bit after God of my own understanding. I didn't have to pretend to understand anything. I didn't, or anything like that, Like I pray every day, but I don't know who I pray to. I don't know what I pray to, but something is working for me because I'm doing stuff I've never ever been able to do. It says when it do for yourself what you can do, and God will do the rest. Well, there's someone doing the rest, Today I do what I can do, and the stuff that usually keeps me out, the stuff I've never been able to manage my whole life, there's something working through me because it's happening. It's happening, so I can't kind of argue with that, and at this point, I'm coming a bit at ease because I really, really thought this was going to be so complicated. I thought I wasn't going to get it. When I first came in, I was reading all these words. I didn't have a clue what they meant because they were just 110% straight, So I'm Googling words. I'm on meetings and I'm Googling words because I had no clue. But then I kind of thought, what? I'm hearing a lot of the same stuff and stuff, and I'd accepted. I thought, what? It's probably not as hard as I'm thinking this stuff is. I want recovery, I want to get well, and I'm willing to go to any lengths to get this and get better. I'll go to any lengths to use. So put that breath into recovery, and that's all I did. And then I hit that step 4 then, and then it was like, oh, here we go. But I'll be honest, I got nothing but honest, and step 4 was probably my best step out that whole program. Because I looked at it, looked at some stuff. There was people I resented, there was things I resented, I caused a lot of harm, a lot of stuff. But when I looked at it, them people that I'm hating on and stuff weren't the problem. I was. My biggest resentment, I guess, was me, because I caused it all. So I just, honest program. And I struggled with that for a short while as well, because I've been dishonest my whole life, since a little child, dishonest. But yeah, I just carried on going with it. I had to carry on going, and I did. So I've done all that, gone with my sponsor, shared that, and then boom, boom, boom. So I just kept going with the steps, and I just did what was directed, and I kind of sailed through. And then, I was kind of cleaning a pathway from the past, I guess. And then when I got to step 9, my head was a little bit mangled, because I thought, right, there's amends that need to be made, fresh in still, really. And my head was kind of a bit warped, because, that self came back a little bit, because my head's telling me I'm doing well now. I want these people to accept amends. No, but it's not that. That's not how it is, is it? And I've still got amends what I've got to be made. But it says in that book, doesn't it? If it's going to harm others and stuff. And there's some that will be made, but they're ongoing, because I still got a lot of stuff to do. I think about 8 months, 8 and a bit months in. So I've still got a long way to go, but I'm doing all right, and I've made amends, don't get me wrong. The amends I've made have been good and they've been accepted. I've got my mum back in my life, which I never really thought I would, because I'd done that much damage. I've got my little boy, but I lost that boy. Comes and stays with me now at weekends and stuff. I never ever thought I'd get that, because when I first come into recovery, I couldn't even speak to him. I walked on the phone, and but through this stuff, and through staying consistent, and being told to do this, do that, I did it all, and then a few other things, did it just kind of, and I've got stuff back, and that gives me stuff to go with. I'd accepted I was going to die in active addiction. That's not the case today. I'll be an addict till the day I die, but I won't be an active addict. I'll be active in recovery. I'll graft this till the day I die, because it's better than being out there grafting drugs and dying a lot earlier. I'm happy today. I'm living today. I'm not just existing. Today I sponsor people. I take people through the work like I work for the place where I came to get well. I didn't see that happening. But I knuckled down and people seeing something in me, I guess. And I felt something in myself. I was tired. I was done. I knew I was done. I just didn't know how to be done. I didn't know where to go for help. This was the best thing I could have done, because I've learned so much about me. Yeah, it was a painful place, my using at the end. It was very painful, but it's not today. I'll give this stuff away freely like it was given to me, and that's what we've got to do, because if we all got well and stopped, no recovery, would there? I live my life of what I've learned so far, and I remain teachable. I learn something every day from someone. I'll hear something on a meeting, and it might be something that I'm a bit confused about, stuff like that, but I'll get an understanding of it. I do a lot of research on things, and kind of the bonus I've got where I work, is a recovery setting, and I see people fall off. I see people relapse. Some people might think this is selfish, but I don't. I learn from that. I call that my relapse prevention. I look at what they're doing and what they're not doing. You try and advise some people, but we're not all in that same place. Some people come into recovery for the wrong reasons. Might come in it for the girlfriend, or for the mum, or for the bed. So not everyone's gift to desperation is like mine. Mine was massive, and I just look at it and I think to myself, if you don't do that, and I can remember telling that poor lad that, and he didn't listen, man. And it's just about, for me, it's about remaining teacher, but staying honest. You know, inventory, that's a massive one to me because I could build a resentment off anything at one point. You know, if I get annoyed today, I do step 10 around stuff, around people. You know, I review my day at night. The odd time, I try to do my inventory every night because, like I said, it's important. The odd time, I'll go straight to a meeting from work, get home at 10 o'clock or something, absolutely knackered, think I'll just lie down for 1 minute. I wake up in the morning. And one time I did that, and I did my nightly inventory in the morning, and it ruined that day. So what I tend to do, if that ever happens, it doesn't happen often, it really doesn't. But if it does, I don't do that. I leave yesterday and yesterday, because today I live for today, you know. But yeah, today life's good. The stuff I have got through recovery is amazing. It's stuff I didn't think I'd ever get back. Some new stuff that I've never had. But like I said before, I was just a useless, addicted existence out there in a world of pain. And today it's not like that. I've got routine, I've got structure. I get up, you know, I get up happy, not going to put the quilt over my head. You know, I get up happy. I'm going to help others when for so long I couldn't help myself, you know. And all this didn't cost me 1 pence. All I had to do was sit down, shut up, listen, because I knew nothing, you know. I knew nothing. And now it's just maintenance, you know, maintain stuff. Do I have a crap day sometimes? Yeah. But it's nowhere as bad as it was out there. No, nowhere as bad. Do I know the big book front to back inside out? No. But like I said, I'm not 10, 12, 15 years in. I'm less than a year in. But I've learned so much, you know. And it's a process. It's a process. I've just got to keep going now. But life today, I could never imagine it. I've never worked in my life. I've never had routine in my life. You know, I've always lived spare in the moment, and all that is through that program. You know, I work a strong program, and it keeps me well. So why would I ever want to put that down? Doesn't make sense, does it? You know, I am the hopeless addict. That's exactly what I am. I'm a through and through addict. But I have balance with it, kind of thing. I balance things because I'm not delusional around. I could come here and just get stuck into just recovery and just box, and that'd be my life and nothing else. And it'd probably send me back out. You know, I need balance with things, and I've got that today. You know, and in them rooms, man, there's people in them rooms. You always think, well, I always thought, you know, for me. Some of the stuff I've heard in them rooms, it's sad. It's sad. But it's a family, and that's what it is. Everyone loves each other. Everyone helps each other. You know, it's amazing because we're all the same. We're all the same. We've got issues at the end of the day, but we're the lucky ones, man. You know, we're the ones that made it. Found out that a lad, I didn't really know him, but I met him in the rooms. We found out that he was dead yesterday. You know, I met him a few times. So not that long ago, he was doing all right. Dead now, and that's what'll happen. You know, I don't. I think personally, if I went back out there now using, I wouldn't make it back. You know, because the way I use, and drugs are not drugs now. It's all rubbish and chemical, you know, this and that. It just kill me. And I don't want that because I've got a good life today. I'm happy. You know, I'm happy, and I've not been that for a long time. You know, I've got emotions now. I've not had emotions for years. So long, man, because they were just blocked off crack pipes, heroin, tablets. I've been asleep for years. You know what I mean? I've been asleep for years. And you know, them emotions come back. And you know, it's all right. It's normal. It's all right to cry. So what? I've nothing to hide from no one. You know, I'm happy. And like I said, you know, my little boy, he's happy. You know, he's got his dad. I had that little boy at the window waiting for me when I'm not even set off. You know, I was still in the crack then. And you know, it's not just I've hurt so many people me with my addiction, but that doesn't have to be the case anymore. You know, maintain this stuff. I can live a good life. I'm already living a happy, good life today. got so much back. And like I said, it's only from that book. It really is. I urge anyone that's struggling, me, I say it all the time, you're struggling, look at some stuff, go to a meeting. I always speak to newcomers and stuff, go to a meeting, get a sponsor, and do that work, because your life will change. My life was at a point where really it couldn't have got any worse. Like I said, I would have died. But yeah, I'm so glad I found the room. I'm so glad I did it the way I did it. That's nothing against any other fellowships or anything like that, but I just didn't have time to be hanging around doing month and month and month on a certain step like this, so that I didn't have time because I'd gone back out and died. And that's the truth of the matter. That big book saved my life, no question. It did. It saved my life. No ifs or buts. 1,000,000% that book and this program saved my life. And I'm quite happy to live a program for the rest of my life, but it's much easier. And not just that, like I said, I don't want to use anymore. I'm done. I'm done. I couldn't imagine going out using. I know I wouldn't enjoy it. I know I wouldn't, because I've had that taste of recovery. I've got things back. I'm well today. I just need to maintain things and stay well. And my life will be good. But yeah, just remain teachable. I don't have no worries today. I live a day at a time. That's all I can do. Don't matter to me what's going to happen next Friday. Don't matter what happened last Wednesday. I live for today. I do some suggestive things on a daily basis. And life's really, really good. I'm just so glad I found recovery, man. So glad. Work with sponsees, like I said, give it away. And that's all I can do. I'm happy today. And it's all through the 12-step program of recovery. I've got my life back. When I'd already accepted I was going to die in active addiction, no, not the case today. I think that's about a wrap for me, but thank you for the opportunity, mate.
No, brilliant. That was great. Really good to hear you today, Darren. That was really strong. I was with you every moment. That was phenomenal. It really, really was. I really enjoyed your share. Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of identification. So, yeah, I was right there with you in terms of heroin addiction and the agony I had to get clean, like off heroin, probably a dozen plus times. I found myself 125 mil of meth. I was on take home because I worked through virtually all my addiction. Not that makes me any better or worse. It's just my story, And, I was on take home and I ended up with 5 or 6 litres of the stuff in the wardrobe and managed to reduce myself to 0 in about 3 months. And that was painful, that's serious stuff, is that, the green juice. And, and IV use, I ended up with nowhere left to go. If anyone has been an IV user, they'll know exactly what I mean. I had people ringing me up to buy the filters, and got involved in the supply. You mentioned prison. I've never been sentenced or anything, but I ended up with 8 weeks. I got 3 breaches of the peace in a year and ended up with 8 weeks. But when I got there, about 3 lads I'd used with and about another 4 lads I knew. So I had a really good time, but you have to make the most of it. Not that I'm suggesting anyone should try it, but I really, really enjoyed it. But what's your options? It becomes about food and clean clothes and, and stamps and letters and stuff like that, But I enjoyed it. It was all right. It was part of my journey, I never used in there, but I saw the spice, I saw the insanity. I saw lads, just running, bouncing off the walls, as it were, and just the insanity. I'm glad to say it was a very long time ago, but on the basis of identification, I can relate to that. But certainly the futility, the hopelessness, the feelings around heroin addiction, I don't know. I don't like to get specific, but I think when it comes to alcohol addiction and heroin addiction, you really know the phenomenon of craving. Perhaps uniquely amongst the drugs that are out there. You really do, and then getting involved in the supply game, like it sounds like you were as well. The more you have, the more you use. I was my own worst customer, and then sooner or later, I was busted 8 times. police chases, wrestling with the cops. And you only need to look at a cop the wrong way nowadays, and you, you know, and so a lot of identification. I never got involved in crime apart from selling substantial bits of brown. I never really got involved in crime mercifully, but in terms of the feelings and the hopelessness, and that was my journey to the first step. And my first meeting was NA. I absolutely love NA. I love AA, CA, and a meeting is a meeting. If someone needs a meeting, I believe that, and, for me, there's only one program, one set of 12 steps, I'm similar to you, I believe, like, I'm working with someone today. We're actually doing steps 6 and 7, and we'll do it in a day this afternoon. In about 40 minutes, we'll make 2 lists, shortcomings and defects, which are the same thing, and probably about 2 dozen items on there. We'll make a list of character assets mutually. We'll actually write the list, pen to paper, and then we'll both pray through both lists, and it'll be a powerful, memorable and transformative event, and that man will likely not forget that process, and neither will I. And I get the privilege of working step 6 and 7 today with that man as well, right? And that'll be formative in my day. Yeah. And I can guarantee neither of us will have any thought of using while we're practicing that solution, So, yeah, a lot of identification, really. And, when you talked about being on your own, I know Blackpool, we used to go there every year for holiday. So we did. And I was born in a similar region to you in Burnley. And Burnley and Blackpool and Preston are rough old holes. A lot of good people live there. Don't misunderstand me. A lot of good people, but they're rough, aren't they? Let's face it. And you mentioned homelessness. The nearest I got to that was my house was repossessed after paying a mortgage for 21 years. But the council were very, very good. So, yeah, man, a lot of identification. And, at the beginning of your share, you said something to the effect of, you don't know how you got through it, but you got through it, something like that. The tenacity, the power of the human creature, the power of the human spirit, the resolve and determination we have, And, yeah, man, a lot of identification with you, Darren, and a great message in terms of the steps and the process. And so when I have the privilege of working with men, occasionally women in this process, 3 weeks is tops for me to get through this work. And this is all just my opinion. Like, I believe that particularly a chronic addict, alcoholic, fresh in or fresh back, needs to work with someone every day. That's my opinion, and needs to have a couple of hours a day in the process. I was speaking generally, or it may not work, and someone dies every 8 seconds of addiction. For me, this is a really serious deal, meetings, literature, step work keeps us honest, doesn't it? Keeps it real and very relatable, down to earth share. Darren, really appreciate you coming and sharing with us today. Yeah, the futility of living to use, using to live, that lifestyle and how chemical dependence and being in that mood altered state becomes a lifestyle really quickly. It's terrifying, and you mentioned that you've lost someone locally that was doing really well. Mate, it's a killer illness, and it's just for today. We don't use no matter what. And if there's anyone listening that's new, in the real world, drink and drugs are there right now, but we've been restored to sanity at this moment in time. I'm working. I completed step 2 with a member yesterday, precious member, and we spoke, and one of the things I said was, well, at this moment in time, you've already been restored to sanity around the first drink or drug. In that sense, you've completed step 2. You're on this phone call working this step. You've got a plan to pop into a meeting later you're going to share. You've got a plan to read a bit of literature today and do perhaps a bit of prayer, a bit of meditation. I'm not too good at meditation, but I do try, Darren. And, I've got a little bit of service. I'm going to be listening to people share. So doing all these things is evidence of my second step. You know, I would only do those things because I know there's a solution. You know, so yeah, man, I really enjoyed your share. What is there any way you'd be willing to talk about sponsorship in a general way and how you see it as being formative and vital for a recovering addict?
Yeah, sponsorship is massive in it. You know, for me, you know, without a sponsor, if I, let's say, for example, I'd have just picked that book up and tried to run myself, I'd have had no clue, would I? Because, you know, I needed stuff breaking down to me. But yeah, sponsorship is a massive one in it, and I've got a sponsor myself. I've got two at the moment. But I had one the other day, and he got his first sponsor, and he was a bit like I was, you know, a bit flapping and stuff. But he run it over there, and he's all right. His sponsor relapse and stuff, but he's back. He's took him back on. But yeah, it's massive. You know, we all got well and didn't sponsor, then it'd been, you know, it wouldn't work, would it? But when I go back through that work with someone else for them, I always seem to get more. There's not, I won't necessarily say things that I've missed, but things that stand out in a different light, or think, you know, just light bulb moments. But yeah, it's massive. It's massive. You know, I'd advise anyone to do it. And I know people struggle, you know, some people struggle to share and things like that, but it's freeing. It's freeing. You know, like I've got one guy there now. I remember when I first came to Preston, to where I'm at, he was at the top of the street on the end doing little shots and running about and stuff like that. And he came, and we got him over the other side of Preston in houses, and I took him on, and today he's doing really well. You know, he's doing really well. He's tried all sorts. He's been in rehabs in Pakistan, chained up and stuff. Even that didn't keep him or getting clean. Today's clean. Today's doing all right. You know. But yeah, sponsorship for me always is massive. You know, because I'm always busy a lot of stuff. I don't overrun myself, because I see some people maybe who have got a lot more time on their hands than me, and they might have 7, 8, 9, 10 sponsors, 10 sponsees. But realistically, I've got to give to them as much as I can and stuff. So it's just that balance. So I always kind of try and keep two at a time. Myself, that's just me, but you know, that's for my reasons. And like I said, I've got my recovery, I've got my work, all of that, and I just want to serve them people the best, like I was served. You know, that's all I want to do.
Yeah, man. No, I agree. In terms of having folk in the 12 steps, so, you know, I tend to stick with 2 if someone's really desperate, 3. But in terms of people that we try to help if they ring up, you know, yeah. You know, I was thinking as well, you know, you mentioned being on Blackpool Promenade on your own, but you weren't on your own. You know, God was there. No one's on their own. But mentally and emotionally, I really related with you in terms of the pain of active addiction. You know, and you said you was rattling and it was winter. Mate, I get it. I get it. I proper get it, you know. And, you know, I think only someone that's been a full-blown, I mean, just very generally speaking, an alcoholic and a heroin addict, their lives and their bodies are very, very similar in full expression. In terms of heroin and alcohol, we try and have a stash there the next morning. It's pretty much the last thought of the night. Oh, I'd better have some so I sleep okay. You know, and living to use, using to live, ways and means to get more our whole life, and thinking centered in addiction, you know. But our message is hope, and our promise is freedom, that any addict can quit drugging and find a brand new way to live, you know. And the disease of addiction, if anyone's listening, you don't need to have gone to the depths we've gone to. You know what I mean? I've worked with people that have had a once a month binge. Who knew, you know, someone could do that? But I have. But it's been so problematic for them, that 3 days, that it's nearly cost them their sanity, their liberty, and their marriage, and etc. and they've come to the program and got help.
That's
So
it.
it's like you can get off the train at any stop. The disease of addiction can be arrested at any point, and recovery is possible. And once again, if there's anyone here, come to some meetings, reach out in the chat. We've got male and female sponsorship lists of people that are ready to take you through this process, so you can be liberated from the obsession to drink and drug. Yeah, man. So I just really, really related to when you shared that, and here you are today, and to think that a higher power, the creator, was there that day and is there this day, and has brought us this far, and God doesn't bring us this far to let us down now. You know what I mean? It's a process, and you're in it to win it. And yeah, man, I really appreciated your share. So we've got a couple of minutes left, and I just want to hand the floor over to you in case you've anything else you want to share with our listeners.
Just like you said, innit? You just said that then about, people that can use, let's say, monthly or weekly. I could never do it. I was all round the clock, 7-day a week user, but it's, I've seen myself, people who get paid and kind of believe they can spend that whole payday money and have just a sesh, and they don't even think about how they've got to live for the next month. They just have a day. It's still insane. It's still insanity. It's and it is. It's addiction of any kind, man. It's powerful. It's baffling. It's not nice, but you don't have to live with that till the day you die. Like I accepted a long time ago that's how I was going to die. It doesn't have to be the case. There is a way out. You just got to find it. And I know an important one for me is do it. You can only do this stuff for yourself. I've got a little boy that's 8. I've got a mum that I ruined, in a way. I done antidepressants and all kinds. And I've had people say to me, "Why did you not do this years ago?" You know why? I wouldn't have done it. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready years ago to give this a try. That gift, the desperation that we talk about, it was massive for me. Absolutely. It was probably the best gift I've ever had in my life because it got me where I am today. But yeah, just, there's something else. For us addicts, or we hopeless for writers, there is something else. When I first left Blackpool that day to come to recover it, I was getting off at every stop, and I didn't. I had money in my pocket, a few hundred quid in my pocket. I think I'm going to get off here, score, but something kept me on that train, and I know now what it was. And then I was thinking, right, I'll get to Preston, I'll just grip a beggar, sort them out, and then my normal thinking, that's what would have been. I would have done that, but there was something in the back of my head. Do that, you're not going to get to where you're going. Do that, you're going to be on a car park tonight smoking. And I didn't do it. I just went to the place I was going, went to the office, took to my bank card, took to my money, and I was just relieved. But that wasn't just me that did that. That was something working for me. And today I know that was a higher power, because I would have, if it was just me and my thinking, I probably wouldn't have even got on train. But yeah, and what I will say one thing: don't let that God word confuse you, because it's a God of your understanding. You don't, it's obviously you go for it, but you learn stuff and stuff like that. But I thought, God, oh my goodness, I just mean I have to go to church every Sunday. I'm a part of God's squad now because I didn't know anything. But it's not like that, you can. I don't know who I pray to. I don't know what I pray to, but I do pray, and they get answered. Things happen. But yeah, just this is, if I can do this, when all I've done since a kid is take drugs. If I can do this and get clean and help others, I believe anyone can do it. Anyone. All it is, you've just got to be ready, haven't you? It's just put some action in. It's an action program, but it will only serve you well. You don't have to be out there suffering anymore. You don't. There is a solution. Live in that solution. That's all I can say.
Lovely. Yeah, super job. So on the screen there, appreciate that, Darren, is information about meetings. You can pause and rewind, screenshot this. All those meetings are on every single day, all year round. You'll get help and support and encouragement there. You'll hear a message of hope, just like Darren's kindly come on and shared today. The UK Samaritans numbers there, as is the CA UK helpline. There's a lot of help available if you're in Britain and you're looking to go to an in-person, face-to-face meeting, which is a really good idea. The address is at the top centre there, kanonymous.org.uk. Don't be put off coming to Zoom meetings. Most people don't put the cameras on. You're definitely not obliged to put your camera on or to speak. You can just come along and listen. I've really enjoyed you coming along and sharing with us, Darren. I really appreciate your time this morning. And, Dr. Silkworth, in the doctor's opinion, the first thing he points out about the fellowship isn't steps or meetings or literature or prayer. It is one person sharing their ideas about sobriety with another person. That's the basis of the fellowship. You coming along and sharing today is a huge part of my recovery just for today. That's the truth of it. And we share our message of hope and freedom and experience and the reality of it, the ruggedness of it, the truth of it, and the freedom that's now yours is encouraging and assuring and inspiring, and we get identification of the problem and identification in the solution, and we realize that we too can have this thing. We can have this freedom. The program's moral psychology plus divine power. It's never been a religious program, but there is a creator. The steps are designed to get you connected with the source, with divine power. And we never, ever need to use again. So thanks very much once again, Darren, for your time this morning.
No problem. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it, mate.
Right, family, stay strong, stay connected. And as I say, reach out in the chat. There's a lot of help and support available. Check out the other podcasts on the channel. There's podcasts on each of the steps, the spiritual malady, the ABCs of addiction, an entire psychic change. There's about 24 personal stories like this one on the channel. So please get involved. Okay, family, stay safe.